Valentine's Day is less than 2 weeks away. Are your cards ready for those special people in your life? If not, I have you covered. These are the 3 cards I have for you today. They all use the same stamp and die set and the same designer series paper. The stamp set we're going to be using is the Hearts of Elegance stamp and die set. And we're going to be using the stamp set for all our sentiments. And then the dies, we're going to be using these 4 here along with this heart with the little pinpoint detailing here. The paper that we're using is the Most Adored Designer Series paper from Stampin' Up. And we're going to be using mostly the pink paper, but it is a collection of golds and whites, a lot of pinks, very Valentine inspired. But we're going to stick mainly to the pinks and some of the reds and just a little bit of the golds. So let me clear this all out and let's get started with our first card. The first card I'm going to make is this Hugs and Kisses cards. All of our cards are done on a base of the White Daisy cardstock. So I'm going to be bringing in this piece right here, this piece of white cardstock that I'm going to be layering right on top. But what I want to do is I'm going to ink up the edges just to bring a little more dimension and separation between the 2 pieces of white cardstock. Get that inked up real quick. And this one's going to be super quick. We're going to be just placing this one here. It's going to be just adhered down, just a little bit of dot runner. And we're just going to place it right in the center. So this piece here is 3 7/8 by 5 1/8. And then we're going to bring in some pieces for our banners. So banners are easy to make. We're just going to take a pair of scissors. We're going to eyeball the center of the width of the paper, cut up as far as you wish. The more you cut up, the deeper your banner is going to be. And then just cut in from the 2 sides. So let's get these cut up really quick. And get them adhered down. This Hearts of Elegance stamp and die set seems very, very Valentine's oriented, but I think you could use this really for wedding cards or even birthday cards. I think it'd make a really, really cute birthday card. So let's get this one last corner cut out. And then we're just going to adhere these down. This banner here I have is measured 1.5 wide by about 3 3/4 long. I'm going to place that somewhere close to center. And then I'm going to take the red one, which measures 1 1/4 by 3 1/2, and I'm going to butt this one up right alongside. Oh, before I do that, you know what I want to do? I'm going to pull this up just a little bit because I really would like to ink the edge as well, just so that it ties in with the edge right up there. See how a difference that makes? Let me get this one inked in. And the main reason I'm inking the red cardstock is because the Stampin' Up! Two-tone cardstock has this little white core. And if you ink it up, it just makes that disappear. So let's get this one butted up right next to it. And then we're going to ink this one up real quick as well, just so that it has that definition as well. It's a great way to add definition without adding any bulk to your card. It's just adding a little bit of ink along the edges. A little dot runner. And let's get this one down. We're going to overlap this one over the top. And then I have this little perforated heart. I'm going to be adding some dimensionals to this, but you could just leave this flat if you don't have dimensionals, or just a couple, just to help give it just a little, you know, differentiation between the card and the heart. So let's get that one laid down. Like I said, these cards are going to come together super quick. I think the most time it takes is just cutting out the pieces. So we've got our perforated heart here. We're going to lay it down just about here. And we're 90% done. We're going to be adding a sentiment, which is the XOXO, Hugs and Kisses. And I'm just putting that down here in the bottom right corner. I'll hold it there for a couple of seconds just to let the ink transfer and lift straight up. How quick is that? The sentiment that I used on the inside of this one is Love You. So I'm going to do the same here. I'm going to bring in my Love You stamp. I'm using real red ink. And like I said, everything I'm using is used on all three cards. So this two papers are from the Most Adored paper pack. This is the real red two-tone cardstock, as is the heart. And then I'm just going to stamp the Love You. I just want to stamp off real quick and make sure it's got a nice clean impression. Stamp it up one more time. Center it in the middle of my card. Excuse my head if it got in the way there. And just push down. Again, hold it for a few seconds. Just let the ink transfer. Pull straight up. Well, there I have a mistake. But I'm sure that we can maybe die cut out a few little hearts, and we're going to solve that problem real quick. Hold on a moment, and I'll be right back with a couple of hearts to hide that. I dug through my stash, and I decided to die cut a few of the hearts out from the classic wedding Stampin' Die set out of the real red, and I disguised my mistake. First card down. Let's move on to the second one. Our next card is the Be Mine card. Again, we're working on a piece of white daisy cardstock. This is going to be a side fold card. And I did not on this one ink up the edges, but that's something you could do to give it a little bit more weight, a little bit more division in the between the cards, you know, the base and this piece of cardstock. So I'm just going to adhere this one down. Again, like I said, these are super quick, super easy. You can pick one and do multiples of the same one, or do all of them for the special people in your life. On top of this one, I'm using this pink plaid paper. And this pink plaid measures 3 3/4 by 5. And the white piece is 4 by 5 1/4. So we're going to adhere this down with some dot runner. This piece you could easily pop up with some dimensionals and give the card a little bit more dimension if you were like to do that. Or you can just lay it all down flat like this. These fit in an envelope much better for when you're sending them out in the mail. But if you're handing them out or giving them to, you know, a loved one in your home, you can maybe give it a little more dimension, kind of like I popped up this one here. Our next piece is going to be this square where our little red perforated heart sits on. The red square is 2 5/8, and the white daisy is 2 1/2, both square. So let's attach the white daisy down to the red. I'm going to get that centered. This one only has a very small border. And if you want to pop this one up, I've got some dimensionals and we can do that. Again, if you don't, you want to make it quick, you don't have dimensionals, just lay it, adhere it straight down to your paper. So let's get one more there on the bottom. A little more adhesive is better than less. So a lot of times I don't pull off all of the backings because I don't think I need to. So normally ones in the middle I leave on. It's less work. So let's adhere the little heart down there to the center. That's going to go right there. And then we're going to stamp on this one. Hopefully we don't have a mistake like we did last time. But we're going to be stamping the Be Mine, again in the Real Red. I'm going to be careful this time. Just stamp it for a trial run. Make sure it's inked up really nice. Oh, I can see I got ink on the edges. Let me bring in my chamois and clean that up and get that ink off my fingers. I just felt I picked up. So let's be a little more careful. I'm going to stamp that one on. I'm going to move that out of the way. And we're just going to center that. Excuse my head if it gets in the way. I'm going to press down and hold it. Try not to rock. I normally count 3 or 4 seconds, and then I like to lift off. Perfect. So we're going to adhere this to the piece of real red cardstock. And this little piece here is, let me see, I cut this one. This one's 1 1/4 by 2 1/2 and 1 3/8 by 2 5/8. Again, very small border. And then we're going to just adhere both of these down to the card. And I'm just going to center it as best as possible. And these two should line up. They are about the same. They are the same size. So those should line up. You just have a nice little gap between the two. Okay, all we need to do is add our sentiment. And the sentiment inside of this one I'm going to be using is Happy Valentine's Day. Let me bring in my red ink again. I always want to do a trial run. Make sure it's inked nicely. That looks good. I'm going to turn it around so we don't stamp it upside down. And then I'm going to hold that one down and press and hold. There you go. Looks good. Card 2 finished. Our final card is Sending Lots of Love. And this card's going to be, we're going to be using up a bunch of little scraps, a piece of paper, so it's a great use of small pieces. Again, white daisy cardstock for our base. This one is a top folding card. And then I'm bringing in a piece of real red cardstock, and this piece measures 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. So this is the same size as the card base. So let's adhere that. And we get that one adhered down. Probably gonna have a little bit of a border, but not bad. So we're going to start with a base of real red cardstock. Then what we're going to do, we're going to be die cutting out this big heart. But before we do that, what I'm going to do is take a piece of cardstock that's going to be just slightly smaller. This one that we're going to die cut is 3 3/4 by 5 1/8. And I'm going to be cutting, I cut this one down to about 3 1/2 by 4 1/2. And what I'm going to do, this heart here is the negative from that, and I'm just going to lay it down here, and I'm just going to bring in a pencil, and I'm just going to outline the heart, just to kind of get an idea where it's at, so I know where to lay my strips of paper. You're not going to see this because the paper is going to overlap it. So you're going to move that to the side, and then I'm going to just bring in a bunch of small pieces that I have left over from making the cards, and we're just going to adhere them down. So I'm going to lay them out first, see if I like how they look. Some of them already have adhesive on them, and the reason why I put the heart down is you can see that I need to be able to cover that heart, and this piece will probably be too small, not wide enough. So I'm going to start. We'll go with this piece here that goes all the way across. Then I want to bring in a piece maybe of the gold and white to make it look different between the two, and then maybe in a piece of this red. And let's see, what else can we bring in? Let's see, I've got this piece here, but I need to cut that down. So let me bring in a paper trimmer. I'm just going to use my little guillotine trimmer. I'm just going to trim off a piece of this. And let's pop that right there. And then maybe this one can go down here. It's a pretty small, oh, maybe we can go a little bit higher here. Put that one in there. And we'll slice down that gold here. Again, let me do that off camera real quick. And then we can slide that piece in right between those two. Like that. And then I have this one up here. I'm just going to trim down a little bit again on my paper trimmer. And we'll put this piece up there to the top. And like that. I think that looks good. I'm going to glue these down all off camera, and I'll be right back. I've got all my strips laid down, and while I was off camera, I also used the large heart die to cut out this piece of the white daisy cardstock that I'm going to be laying over the top of the strips of paper. So let's adhere those down. I'm just going to run some glue, tape runner along the top and the sides, just so that nothing shows through. And this piece is a little bit smaller, so I can play with a little bit to try to adjust and make sure everything looks straight. So I think that looks good. I'm going to press down. And then this piece is going to go on top of the red. But before we do that, I think I'm going to stamp my sentiment, since this is very flat at the moment. And I'm going to be stamping "Sending Lots of Love." And again, quick stamp off camera. And then I'm going to just bring this down in the corner. Lift off. And then we're going to add this piece to the red. So nobody sees the back here. There's a little dot runner. And adhere that one down and just center it here in the middle. And then we're going to add our hearts. So this heart, which is out of the real red cardstock, I'm just going to place it just about there. Be really cute if you wanted to use the dimensionals on this heart and pop that up just a little bit. But we're just going to place that one right here. And then we're going to be using this gold twisted thread to make just a little bow. My thread is a mess. I couldn't figure out how to get it off the spool, so I just cut it. So I'm just going to cut a small piece off and tie a bow. Let's move that out of the way. So nothing special. Just a simple little bow. There we go. And I'm going to be using some glue dots to adhere this down. You could use glue dots, you could just use a drop of glue and hold it there till it dries. Get that nice and tight. But I'm just going to be bringing in some glue dots, and I don't need a full glue dot. So I'm just going to take my glue dot, I don't know if you can see it right here, and I'm going to cut it in half. And then I'm going to cut it in half one more time. And then I'm just going to take this little tiny piece of glue dot and use that to adhere my bow down. Let's put the glue down first and then put my bow right on top. All right, all we need to do is add a sentiment, and this one I use the Happy Valentine's Day sentiment like I did in the last. So pick that up and stamp that down. There you go. Let me bring in all the cards that we made. We have the Sending Lots of Love. We have the Be Mine. And then we have the Hugs and Kisses or XOXO. I was having so much fun. I created a few more cards. Let me bring those in and show those to you. I'll pull these ones out of the way. And I created this one again with the Hearts of Elegance Stampin' Die set. The love sentiment came from this Love is Springs die. It's just the word love, and I just used the gold foil paper to die cut that out, and then Sending Lots of Love. These could easily be popped up. They could be inked. There's a lot of different things you could do just to elevate the card a little bit. And then I made this one here. And this one is from the heart-shaped Stampin' Die set. This Stampin' Die set is available right now during celebration, which is going on through the end of February. And it's an item you can receive based on your purchases. So during celebration, they have two levels of rewards. One is a $60 level where if you spend $60, you can pick from the catalog an item. And the $60 level has a lot to choose from. Then there's the $120 level, which is what this one is from. And this is a stamp and die set. You can see I've been using it. But it has a really sweet heart-shaped vine. It doesn't cut with the die, but you can layer them and it looks really, really cute. I believe this cuts this flower here, and then you have a bunch of little leaves that go with it. But this is at the $120 purchase level. And I think it'd be great to use for so many different things. And it has the sweetest sentiment. My thoughts of you are all heart-shaped. And that is what I stamped on the inside here. I love that sentiment. But I use the same paper. This is from the Most Adored paper pack, the Real Red. This is Pretty in Pink. It is not the coordinating color. Coordinating pink was Flirty Flamingo, but I don't have it. But I think the Pretty in Pink worked just fine. Stamp the vine in red, and these little embellishments are from my stash. Let me bring all the cards in for you to see. And like I said, they were quick. They were easy. I think you could produce a whole lot of them in no time and be ready for Valentine's Day. But this is what I have for you today. I will list all the products used in the description below. If you have any questions or comments, please leave those below as well. Hope you have an awesome Valentine's Day, and I'll see you soon. Thanks. Bye.